Hi everyone, I'm Doug Jr.
And I'm Doug III.
And you're watching
Doug and Doug Gaming.
All right, Doug the Third, if that is your real name.
Well, Doug Jr., if that's your real name.
What we're going to talk about today.
Today we are actually going to branch off of something that we hit up in our last video, which goes into, now that we've discussed which games are we keeping, which ones are we retiring, now we're going to move on to the ones that you are keeping. How are we going to take care of those games? Because we want to get the most out of them. We want to make sure that, you know, years down the road we can still play it and they're in mint condition. So we're going to be talking about that today.
Yeah, you know, and that's something that, and kind of touched on this in our last episode, but I didn't used to take care of games like I do today.
Yeah.
I really kind of baby them now. Used to be, you know, you play a game of Scrabble, when you're done, you throw all the parts in the box, and if the box came apart, they just fell out. It was
For sure,
you know.
for sure. And this isn't, we're not shaming those who are new to gaming that, you know, we're not saying like, oh, you don't care for your games. But whenever, especially at, like you said, at this point now that we are collectors and this is a hobby, we've invested quite a bit of money into it and we want to get out what we put into it. So,
And I guess that brings up the point, you know, why do we care so much about this game? And you kind of touched on it. Some of these things are expensive.
yeah.
And some of them have other intrinsic value. Even the ones that aren't so expensive have value to those of us that enjoy them.
Yes,
you know.
definitely.
And so, yeah, we want to keep these around. So we have some samples, I guess, to show you.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you want to go ahead and
Okay.
demonstrate a little
Let me
bit.
get some stuff and we'll talk about their value. All right, well, this is a game that I definitely value, and it has a financial value to it. It's a more expensive game, probably around $100. And Twilight Imperium 4, this is a great game. It's got a lot of parts. It's a really heavy box. We've got a couple of larger games that are, you know,
Yeah.
cost a lot. This, Gloomhaven, it's probably in the same price range. And so, you know, these are things that I definitely want to protect. And fortunately, they have a really nice box with this. So
Yeah.
it's good and sturdy, because
quality box.
if you use cheap cardboard on a heavy game, it would just rip right up.
Yes.
So I think they thought this through a bit. So good job there.
And once again, like hitting up on something that we had previously said, this is a great game, and I mean, you'll meet gamers all over the place that enjoy this game and say, you know, it's worth every penny. Not everybody would agree with that, just because, you know, it is an opinion-based thing. You know, some people would prefer like Scrabble over this, like honestly,
well,
which
sure.
sounds crazy, but
But you can't argue the financial value, because it
No.
just costs a lot.
exactly, exactly. And once again, even if we weren't crazy about this game for some reason, this is still this is a chunk of actual money. You know, like we want to take care of it,
Right.
Because it just wouldn't make sense to just let it, you know, get bashed around after spending so much money on it. You know.
That's one reason why we
Yes.
definitely want to protect the game. Another one would be this. So this is the game I really enjoy. It's called Mystery of the Abbey. It's from Days of Wonder. Gorgeous little game, kind of similar to Clue, but it takes it a few steps beyond. And I found this at a game store. Where was I at? I was on the road somewhere. I think it was
wasn't with
outside of
you,
New
was I?
Orleans.
Was I with you or no?
Oh no, it was up in Colorado. That's where it was. Yeah, it was up in Colorado.
Okay.
In Colorado City, and I found this on the shelf, used but in great condition. And the reason why I was so thrilled to get this is because this game is out of print. You can't buy it new anymore, unless somebody just has a new copy that they've saved. But you can't buy it off the shelf, so to speak. And so if this game were to get damaged or pieces were to be lost, it would be tough to find replacement parts, at least at a decent cost.
Yeah.
Because it's somewhat of a collector's item now. But it's a great game. I didn't buy it just to sit on the shelf. I like to
Yeah,
play it.
absolutely.
And
I've
have
played
fun
it,
with
and I think it's a really good game. I really
Yeah,
like
it's a very
it a lot.
clever game. Nice components, good looking board and everything. So another reason you might want to protect the game is just sometimes they're just hard to get.
So now that we've shown you some of our favorite games and what we've invested in to protect, now we're actually going to share with you our personal tips on how you can do the same thing and protect your games that you care about. card sleeves.
Yep. Something I used to think was ridiculous.
And I get that. I get it.
I did.
I get it.
Yeah.
You go into a game store, you're looking you're looking at all these amazing games, looking at, figurines and all that stuff. Then you get over to this little rack and there's this little pouch that has little plastic sleeves and, it costs, $1, 50 cents, $1, $1.50, depending on the quality. Why on earth would you go in and spend, $1.50 on a little thing of plastic sheets when you could just buy more cards or something like that,
Well, and I think the reason is that the cards are usually unique to the game, so you can't just buy more cards.
Yes.
So you really want these to last.
Yes.
And let's take a look at some sleeves and see kind of how they work in case you're new to this.
Yeah, let me grab one now. All right, so we have our ingredients here. So first of all, we'll start off with the naked Pokemon card.
Okay.
No censorship needed, but the standard Pokemon card. This is a nicer one. This is one that, if I had played as much as I used to, I'd probably be a lot more proud of. It's actually been sitting in storage for a while, so it's not too dinged up. But let's say, I got this card new and I want to make sure it's taken care of. So I run down to the game store. This is Ultra Pro, Profit. These are technically penny sleeves, but these ones cost what, $2.99? A little price tag on it right there.
For what, 100?
Yeah, 100 sleeves, $2.99. Okay, you know what? So we get one of those, we take it home. It is so simple. You have this little floppy plastic sleeve, do it like that. Put the card inside the sleeve. You push it in, and just like that, you're done. Why is this significant? This is actually very significant. You're playing, because nobody wants to be playing Pokemon. You're getting in on the game. All of a sudden, you pull out your most prized possession, creature, and it has little Cheeto stains around its face or something.
No good.
Not charming.
And
But,
even when you're not enjoying a snack, just oils and things from your hands.
Exactly, and people
start to build
underestimate
up.
that. And especially if it is a game that you're playing over and over. Yeah. Like you said, just the natural oil of your skin will actually affect the quality of cards and other pieces.
Right.
So yeah, but that's just one simple tip. Seriously, guys, $2.99, you get 100 sleeves. You can take care of so many of your cards for just $2.99.
All right, so we've talked about card sleeves, and just a little note here. Once you've sleeved your cards, you don't want to generally put rubber bands around them. Those will definitely eat into the sides and start to make marks, and if they're sleeved, it will start splitting sleeves. If they're not sleeved, it will start to wear into the cards. So these are also fairly inexpensive, these little Ultra Pro, and there are other brands of tuck boxes, I think they call them, but just little card boxes.
And this one's just deck box.
Come in different sizes. This is one I use for Terraforming Mars because there are a lot of cards in Terraforming Mars, and I have more than one of these because there's so many cards in the game, but plus expansions. But these are all sleeved, and they fit really nicely in the tuck box. So I put them in the box, and then I put them in the bigger box for the game, so that way the cards aren't falling all over the place. Plus, I don't have rubber bands tearing them up over time. So another little way to store those. Speaking of that, component storage is a huge thing.
Yes, it is.
Because all these games have little cardboard bits and coins and markers and this, that, and the other thing. So what do you do with all that? Well, I have found a couple of solutions. One is Ziploc bags. You can go to anywhere, get Ziploc bags, get different sizes, big gallon bags like this one. You can get snack size bags. You can get little tiny ones like that. You can get sandwich type, whatever. The little Ziploc at the top is nice. But also something I found is I just went to Walmart and they have craft bags, which are, I assume, made for storing parts of different craft projects and such.
And I do want to say, for those of you that, once again, are new to gaming, you're just kind of getting into the hobby, this may seem crazy, but believe me, you'll walk into a game store, you pull out all this stuff to play a game, no one's going to judge you.
No.
They might have questions, maybe like where did you get it or how much did it cost, but you're not going to get judged because, trust me, people will appreciate you putting in the effort to care for your games.
These were very inexpensive at Walmart, and they're a little different size than Ziploc bags would be. But I got them in the craft section at Walmart, and they're just little Ziploc bags, but they're great for storing components in and keeping track of things like that, because if your components are loose in a box, then they're going to rub against each other, they're going to wear on each other. If the box should come open or a rip in the box or something, then they're going to fall out. So it's definitely good to have them contained.
Definitely.
For example, I found these online, and again, this is Terraforming Mars, but these are the some of the money tokens or cubes. And these little containers are made for slime, homemade slime. I found them online.
Yeah, I remember that.
Apparently, making homemade slime is a thing.
There was a trend for a while. It's kind of died down a little bit, but no, it was definitely a thing.
Well, I wasn't into that, but I found these little slime containers, is what they call them, slime containers, and they're little Tupperware type things. Really, really inexpensive. I don't remember what I paid for them, but I mean, I got like 2 dozen for a few dollars.
Yeah,
I mean,
I was going to say, I remember, I think it was like a couple bucks.
It was really cheap. And the lids seem to stay on pretty good. These go in my box for Terraforming Mars, and I never had the lids come off. So they seem to work really well, and for the price, I think it's definitely worth a try. And then, of course, you can move up, if you need to, for different components to more solid containers. I got several of these at a general dollar store, and I guess they're made for sandwiches.
Yeah.
But they're decent size for certain components or certain games that you want to put something in. I actually got this because I thought they would be good for the individual player cards and bits for Gloomhaven characters. However, the card doesn't quite fit in there, so I've got a few of these that I'm not using right now, but keeping them around because I think they're handy. I like the way the lid snaps on. They were about $2 a piece, I think.
And these are nice because generally they're made in a way that's stackable. So if maybe you're not keeping them in the game box, you can keep them on the shelf and they look organized, and that does go a long way.
It just keeps things together. But imagine if you had a game that the card did fit for the player, the player card, and you've got little markers and you've got cards that you're going to be playing. I mean, it'd be nice to have it all together. When you're playing a game, you just give them out to people. Like, here's yours, everything's in there that they need. Might be a little bigger than people need for some things, but that was what I had in mind for these, and I'm sure I'll find a use for those. And then also something that gamers use a lot is, well, we kind of generically call them Plano boxes. That's really a name brand, and there are lots of different brands, but they're like small tackle boxes like this. So these are really designed for fishing tackle and such, but they're just little plastic boxes. These are actually bigger ones. They have much smaller than this, different sizes. And they're usually customizable. So for instance, in this one, you can take these little dividers and slide them in here if you want, or if you want a bigger section, slide them in here. This is one that I'm using for Gloomhaven, and I found this is just the right size for a lot of these little cards, the monster decks and item cards and things like that. And also for the starting, I have all the starting characters, which we're currently still playing in here. And you can see I've got some room. Don't know how well organized my system is, but it works. And also for Gloomhaven, I ended up doing 2 monster boxes. And so these are these are half the monsters, actually a little less than half the monsters, but they're all sorted, they're in alphabetical order, and I even made a little chart that shows you where they are, and then all the monster cards, decks are right here, the modifier decks, and then I just keep the player counters in here. So again, customizable, worked really well. This box was probably $4 or something. It wasn't much.
Something like that.
Now, I don't keep this in the Gloomhaven box. I keep it outside, but I don't travel around with Gloomhaven. We play it here when we play it, so it's not a problem. If you travel around, there are online some systems that will show you how to do this and get everything in the box. Speaking of that, real quick, before we move on, you can also buy game box organizers from companies that are very well made, like Broken Token, Daedalus, Folded Space, different companies that make them, and I think they're well worth the money. I don't invest in them just because I'm cheap but they are very nice. I'm sure they're worth the money.
Yeah.
And if you have the money, I mean, like the one for Gloomhaven is like $80. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost as much as the game.
Yeah.
But it gets everything well organized, and it all fits in the box, and definitely something to check into.
And once again, if you're somebody that knows that you're going to be really playing it that often
Yeah.
and playing it consistently, and there's a lot of people involved, and you want to go the extra mile to protect and store it properly, then go for it. Well then, I don't own as many storage containers as Doug Jr. does. Generally, I'm not gonna lie, I've slacked on my storage. There's actually HeroScape pieces over there in a ramen noodle box, and those are generally those are tough game pieces. I will say they're very hardy. I've had them for a while now, but the one game that I have put in. I'm proud of my storage for it. Is I got a larger tackle box for my X-Wing tabletop game, and you know what? I'll just show it to you guys. This is my game, and yeah. So this was the giant tackle box that I could find at Walmart, and actually the box itself. I move out a little bit. The tackle box itself wasn't as much as I thought it was going to be. I think it was maybe like $15, $20.
I don't remember.
I think it was about $15. And I remember that because I was like, oh, I think I got it out of a section that said like 25. And then when I rang it up, they're like, oh, it's like $15. I'm like, oh, okay, not going to complain there.
So you stole it.
I stole it, hee hee hee. But no, but this is a nice storage unit because, first of all, up here, if you've ever played X-Wing, you have these very nice little ships, starships, and I really like them a lot. Some people say that they would like to paint them themselves. I'm not into painting. I think they look great by themselves. I think they are really, really well made.
Hey, that's mine.
That's yours, yeah. And but yeah, so when I yes, and but when I get into a game that has this much detail in the pieces specifically, I really want to make sure these don't get dinged up too much. So these are stored pretty well, I think. And then same with my larger ships, which fortunately all fit in here. Got my big ship, which I don't know how to actually use it
Never
yet.
actually played with that one, have you?
No,
Scares everyone.
yeah, it's intimidating, but yeah, we all know this one. But yeah, so
You've got some of your measuring
yeah, some of my
pieces back here.
Yep, and so there's a place for just about everything in this one. There's the manuals up here, and then right here in the front we have kind of like what Doug Jr. has with his setup. We have all the, the smaller individual pieces. We got dice, just stuff like that. It's a really nice system. And then once again, I don't play this as much as I used to, but when I do, I know where it's at. It's all in the same place. I know it's protected. I know I'm not missing anything because I've stored it all together, and then I can just pick it up by the handle and haul it around. So that is going to sum up our segment today on storage and care for games. Hopefully you guys got something that you liked out of it, and hopefully it inspired you to think about unique and creative and cheap ways to also store and protect your games. If there's anything that we left out, please comment down below and let us know what's something that you do or maybe that you want to try that we didn't think of.
Hey, I've got a question for you. You can answer the eternal question. Do you store your games on the shelf flat, or do you store them up on end? Because there are advantages and disadvantages to both ways.
Ooh, yes,
So-
please let us know. I would like to see what you guys got for that one. But in the meantime, I was gonna say, once again, just make sure you subscribe, hit that bell button so you can get notifications for all our next videos. And please have an amazing day.
Once again, I'm Doug Jr.
I'm Doug the Third.
Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.